Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bitch and Brainstorm podcast. I'm your host, Elaine Terso, and I'm here with a new friend, Consuela. And we are going to be having, I'm just going to tell you this right now. We're going to have a super fun conversation because Consuela and I both love squirrels, shiny object syndrome. We're going to be talking about that. And Consuela is going to be part of our Elevate Your Online Presence Business Summit. And she's going to be on the panel that is on April 19th. In the Get Shit Done panel at 9:25 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are not going to want to miss this panel. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, because the panelists that we have, this is going to severely impact how you show up in your business. So Consuela, please take a moment and tell everybody about yourself.
So I am Consuela, and I have a confession.
Oh, girl.
I have shiny object syndrome.
Same, girl, same.
So, and I had to figure out a way. And so now, I help folks to really increase their focus so they can get shit done.
Girl.
They can finish the things that they start. They can manage those distractions, those crazy squirrels running around in your head. That is what I help entrepreneurs, creatives, speakers. That's what I help them do.
Girl, okay. So real talk.
Yes.
Real talk moment here. So I also have shiny object syndrome, and I'm really good at helping other people avoid shiny object syndrome, but not myself.
Okay.
And so can you let's first tell people, if they're like, I have no idea, what are you talking about? What is shiny object syndrome? What are squirrels? And if you don't know the reference of Up with the dog saying squirrel, and he like completely like, there's a squirrel where, like, that's what dogs do. And that's kind of like where squirrel was born, right? Am I right? Was from Up. And so can you kind of describe a little bit for people, when you say shiny object syndrome, what do you really mean with that?
Well, there's, of course, like a big clinical description, but I'm too goofy to go with that. And it's really just, I'm doing this thing and I'm like, no, this thing looks more cool, more exciting. I'm going to do this. And you start doing this and you're like, oh, but I was doing that other thing and now I'm doing this thing. And you're like, which one do I do? And let's do item C. Like, let's do another whole exciting new thing over here. And it's a cycle that can speed up, right? Like I'm working on this. It's not getting results. It's getting really hard. So no, I'm going to try this. Maybe this will be the easy button. That's going to get me my first million. I'm going to do this instead. And that starts getting hard. And you're like, oh, the heck with that. I'm going to try this thing. This is the new thing. And that cycle speeds up for us. Our wanting to jump to the new thing gets shorter and shorter. So maybe the first time you were working for a few months on something and it wasn't giving you results, and the next it was a month, and then it was 5 minutes, and you're like, oh, forget it, I'm going to do something else, right? Yeah. So that is a lot of what that means for entrepreneurs and creatives, especially, is ditching what you're doing when it's getting hard before the results are showing. So how do we figure out how to push past that hard spot and get through that so you can finally see results versus, scrap it and try something else? And the thing is, we're constantly bombarded, right? With all the freaking things we should be doing, could be doing. Maybe we can't do them all at the same time. Right. And that's where we get into trouble. And when we're stuck in that cycle, it's really hard. We got to find a way. And I have a way for us to short circuit and stop saying yes to all the things and start saying, yes to what we know is good for us and know will get us through that rough spot into success and results.
I love that. I notice when I get shiny object syndrome, I am avoiding something. Like there is some avoidance happening. And so my nickname is Elaine the Brain, right? Because I get ideas all the time. And what I had to learn to do was realize that not all the ideas that I get are for me. Sometimes the ideas are coming through are for somebody else that I've had a conversation with, and I'm getting a download for them, right? And so I get these little intuitive pop rocks is what I call them. And so I learned, okay, this idea is coming through. I'm going to write it down, but I can't act on it, right? Because it's not in alignment with where I'm trying to go. It is a shiny object. It is a distraction. And so the first thing I have to do is figure out, is this for me or for someone else? And then is this an urgent, or is this ooh, that's a cool idea I could try later, but not necessarily right now. Is there, like, what is your process that you go through when you get those really brilliant ideas that come through and you're like, wow, that could be so fun, but it is a distraction? So what do you do when you get those? What do you
First of
recommend
all,
other people do?
all my ideas are brilliant. I'm just going to say that.
They all are, of course.
They're
Hello.
they're all brilliant. They could all be the idea.
Yeah.
That, So, I mean, and to go into this, I didn't know how much we were doing in today, but I do, my process is gear. Get into gear, get your tail in gear, because squirrels have tails and that's fun. I could cuss, right? Get your ass in gear.
Yep.
But the gear is goals. Evaluate every idea against that goal. Accountability, just really just owning your goal and committing actions to it, and then rewarding yourself, rewards. And the evaluating every idea is something that you're already doing. And it's very important to short cycle the thing. Now I have the impact board, it's like leveling up from a vision board. Vision boards are nice, but an impact board is about taking action and having the impact you're meant to have. And with that, you've got your goal on there. That's so important to you that you feel it when you read that goal. And then you evaluate every idea against that goal and you decide, is this an action or a distraction? And so you place them on the board. Action, I'm going to do something now. Distraction now. We have like an idea test that we run through, like, is it going to cost me a lot of money? Is it going to cost a lot of time? Is it with my current target audience, or is it a brand new idea that's for like another old business? Don't even get started on my chickens, right? But so then it's like, that's a distraction. And then it can either stay on distraction for when it's important, or it can be discarded, or as you've determined, it can be donated.
Yes.
At some of times it can move to action, but only when the time is right and not necessarily right now. So we have a way of determining where does it go. But the thing with that is it's not in here. You take them ideas out. You got to get them out, because if you don't get them out, they're running around your head like those crazy rabid squirrels. And your brain's like, I don't even know where the path is anymore. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. And you get overwhelmed. And then you're like, that's it. I'm taking a break.
Shut down.
The problem with the break, you don't got no forward momentum if you're taking a break.
Yeah.
And then we get in this mode where like, well, I got to regroup and refigure out and recap. If we calculating or calibrating or figuring out rebranding, whatever, that is a loss in momentum. And we're not going to get the results. We're not going to have the impact that we're meant to have.
Yeah.
And so we got to get that out and keep the path to our goal that we've stated is so important to us. And to go on and on about goals, I am goal setting for the goal adverse. But when we look at goals, we want something that when we write it, we have this positive, strong emotional reaction when we read it. When you read it, you should like feel it, because if you feel it, then none of the distractions are going to be more important than that goal. And if your goal is not at that point, it's very easy to be distracted by, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that.
I love that you said an impact board versus a vision board. I love that idea. That is so fun. So fun.
That's one of my babies. That's one of my babies is the impact board, because it's vision board. It's good, but you got to take some action. We're going to get there. We got to take some action, right? We can't play Candy Crush all day and hope it's just going to happen.
I know. And how many people have I talked to that were like, oh, I'm redoing my website. I'm like, for how many times have you done this now? Because it's this isn't working. Nobody's buying my stuff. So they're just constantly, oh, it's because of my website. I'm like, no, girl, it's not about your website, because you can sell anything without a website. I tell people that all the time. You don't have to have a website to sell anything. You don't. But they use it as as a tool to distract themselves and make excuses about why they're not getting results. And I'm like, your logo, redesigning your logo is not going to be that thing for you, but is the thing that we we resort to is, I got to change everything. And it's like, no, we
That's
need
that cycle.
consistency. Yes. We got
That's
to break that.
Let me do this. And the other thing is, it's a lot easier and comfortable to stay in that getting ready to get ready to get ready to maybe be ready state
Right.
than just like diving in and doing it.
Yeah.
Because if I have to, and I use this word, but play with my logo or play with my website or play with this course I'm creating that I don't even know if anybody wants yet, if I'm spending time doing that, then I'm not facing the things I need to be facing. I'm not facing my fear of failure. I'm not facing my fear of success. I'm not doing the things I know I should be doing, but that are hard for me to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing over here instead. So I'm busy.
I'm not productive.
But I'm not getting the right stuff done
Yeah.
to make the progress towards the results. And when I'm not, then it's hard. I don't feel like pushing through because I'm not seeing any results because I'm not doing the things I should be doing. So then I'm going to do something else. Oh, I'll write a book. Now I'll start a podcast.
Yep.
We do all the things, but the things that we need to do, we got to stick with it.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yes. I always talk about the 3 traits that I learned from my kid. So my son was playing football, right? And that scrawny little teenage age that they go through. And he tells his dad he wants to be the starting quarterback. And we got him a personal trainer because he needed some meat on his bones, right? But I learned something.
Started making bacon for breakfast.
Right. I learned something from my kid, right? I learned consistency, discipline, and accountability were like the 3 traits that I really saw in him. I was like, you know what? That is what every entrepreneur needs to, right? You got to show up even when you don't want to. You got to do what you say you're going to do, and you got to do what you said you're going to do over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's the practice. And one of my favorite stories of resiliency is the Dyson vacuum cleaner. He made over 5,000 prototypes in 3 years, right? That is a lot.
That's a lot.
A lot of learning how it doesn't work. But
a lot of things sucking, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right? But the thing is that it's that consistency. It's the not giving up. It's not saying, well, it didn't work this one time, so now I got to ditch the whole thing and start over. It's
so
like,
now I'm going to make toasters.
Right. It's evaluate, like, okay, so you set a goal and you did the things and maybe you didn't get the results you were looking for. So instead of ditching it and starting all over, why not tweak it and try again? And look at your feedback, look at your analytics, look at all of the things and say, okay, what could I do to improve this idea? Instead of just ditching it and starting over completely, because that is distraction. Yep. Like that is all not actually helping us. It's hurting us. And so I love having this conversation with you because I feel like this is the trap that entrepreneurs fall into so many times. The people that I talk to, I'm really good at helping them, but not myself. I know we can all relate to that, but we have to do the things to get out of our own damn way and get shit done. Like I wrote a book about it, right? And it's overcoming these distraction and giving yourself time to procrastinate. I heard that somebody once said they make time in their calendar to procrastinate. They get 20 minutes to do whatever the hell they want to do, but then the timer goes off and they go back to working and on focused action. So when you're talking about, being focused and staying on track and stuff like that, do you have a tips or anything about how to, with procrastination or when a shiny object comes up, like what do you do with it right away?
So that's like, whoa, like,
I know.
Which one am I going to pull on? But I want to real quick on the thing. So I am a Gallup Certified Strengths Coach. And so I know strengths. I'm like total nerd about them. And so when you look at my strengths, like consistency, focus, and discipline, they at the bottom of the list. They at the bottom of the list for me. but that doesn't mean I cannot have these things. But what's important for us is to figure out, how do I use the strengths I have to get to discipline, to get to consistency? How do I use what I do best to do that? So that's one of the things we do. As far as a tip for the shiny thing, I mean, that is really, we have our accountability. We operate on a 12-week year. So we're not worrying about, what am I going to do for the whole year? What am I doing for 12 weeks? Because you can do almost anything for 12 weeks. Then with that, when there's something new you think you want to do, you're like, woo, but I can't do anything new until the next 12-week year. So that automatically goes in distraction. If it's a big thing, a costly thing, it goes there to be reviewed. And I'll consider it for the next go round, which is June. Like, it's got to be after June. Maybe in July I'll get to work on that. Maybe I won't, but at least I know it's sitting there. So with my brain thinking that, like, there's no, it takes some of that, I have to do it right now, because you've already told your brain, no, everything is being evaluated for a later time. And you can easily say, no, I might really want to do this, but I'm not doing this now, but maybe I'll do it soon. And so it's not like I'm never going to do it, but you take away that jump right into it kind of thing, because I'm going to evaluate it for later. Right. And so it kind of, again, short circuit that cycle of, I'm going to quick do the thing. Right. And I say evaluate every idea. And I like to stress the every idea, because it's a slippery slope, y'all. Once you're like, oh, I'm going to just let this one in. Next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. We got all of them coming in. Like,
are you in my office?
Like, am I doing 10 projects now? I thought I was doing one. How did I get to 10? Like, whoops.
Yeah.
So you have to be like, nope, none of them. Yeah. And it can be a hard line to draw. But for me, I got to do that, because if I don't, I get out of control right quick and in a hurry. So I got to figure out a way to not do that. Yeah. So that would be the other thing is, look at your goal. Whether you're doing a goal for the next 12 weeks or for the whole year, do you feel it when you read that goal? Is that like the most passionately burning thing that you want to achieve? Because if it isn't, it's going to be easy to be distracted away from it.
Yep, absolutely. I feel like you must be hiding in my office somewhere, because I'm like, oh my God, how does she know?
I can see your project board.
Girl. No. Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is that the summit idea that what we're doing is that became from a pop rock idea that I had in the bathroom. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. But I also decided, my friend was doing a 12-week accountability group. And so I said, okay, well, and I actually was really kind to myself, because I was going to try to do this in March and give myself 4 weeks to put this thing together. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit more, so that I don't have to stress myself out. Like, it'll be, and I utilized a 90-day thing in order to stay focused, stay accountable, and stay on track, because I am that person that will easily, oh, that's a great idea, let's bring that in. And
I literally had one last night, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I played with it because it was after hours. But then this morning, I have to put it on my distraction board. Like, I can't actually work on that.
Yeah, so I can't play with you right now. I'm sorry.
Right. But one of the other things is, where you talked about the procrastination time, we do also schedule in squirrel out time. Nice. So we're going to get 90 minutes once a month as a group. Like, you can squirrel out. So if there's an idea that's on your distraction board that's not meant for now, you have 90 minutes to play with it. Do what you want with it. I love store it. But then that's it.
It's over. Yeah.
And then, and so, so it's still on distraction, but you can have some time to play with it. Or if there are other ideas, you can play with it. But that would be the other thing, dumping those ideas on a regular basis, y'all. You got to dump them, right?
Yep. There was right at the beginning, at the end of 2019, I had this really big idea that I wanted to start a subscription box, right? And so I told myself, you cannot start a new business at the end of the year. Like, you got to wait until the new year. That's what I told myself. I said, you have permission to gather ideas. You have permission to do some research and just basically collect information at this time. But you're not buying domains. You're not building websites. You're not doing any of that until, and I also needed a time to kind of let it marinate and see, did I still love this idea after I gave myself 30 days of, you can't start anything new right now. So January 1 came and I said, do I still want to do this? Is my energy still up and high around this idea? And it was. So I did. And it was amazing. But I did it for a year. And then I said, you know what? I'm good. I got this idea out of my system and I can wash my hands of it and say, I learned really great lessons. It was super fun. I loved doing it, but I'm taking a break. I'm not going to do it anymore. And I'm going to move on to something else that brings up my excitement. And I learned, when you're talking about the strength finders, my coach made me do the test and I realized, oh, this is why short-term projects work really well for me, is because I'm an activator. Duh, right? And so I was like, duh, why am I trying to do long-term stuff when I like short-term stuff? The wham, bam, thank you, ma'am projects work really well for me.
Yep.
Because I can check, move on to the next thing.
In the project. That's not for me. Yeah, I have activator high as well. So again, another reason why it's obvious that I could have shiny object syndrome, because activator is like, oh, we have a brilliant idea. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
That can be good, and it can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yes, girl. Yes, we could talk about this all day long. So if you are enjoying this conversation, you're going to definitely want to tune into our Elevate Your Online Presence Business Summit on April 19th. You're going to want to come and be a part of the Get Shit Done panel, which again is starting at 9:25 a.m. Pacific time on April 19th. So thank you, Consuela, so much for coming to hang out with me and geek out about all things distractions and shiny objects. Who knew this could be so fun to talk about?
Well, this was awesome. I'm excited to be a part of the summit and can't wait for y'all to hear what the panel has to say.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys later.